Hey folks, welcome to WACTS. This is episode 33. This week we're covering what I did from September 14th to September 22nd, 2015. Bit of a longer week. There's been a lot happening. I think this is going to be one of those episodes where I'm just going to be cramming everything together because I'm exhausted and I don't even have time to think about editing this in any kind of detail. So we're just going to go through this week, kind of snappy, and I'm going to be referencing things. Here we go. The big thing this week was my family visiting, my mom, brothers. Really wonderful to have them up here getting to see the house, hanging out with baby, uncles, grandmother, really cool stuff. My brothers were so incredibly helpful while here. It was really wonderful. I mean, they're great boys, but we did everything from, going on walks with Sadie and Alistair, and we painted the entire porch. We ran to Home Depot, got supplies. We did some more stuff with just organizing stuff around the outside of the house. We set up a motion detector in the front where the garage lights had just totally stopped working. Instead of just replacing the bulbs, we just installed an entire new system. This is my introduction to electrical work, and I'm looking at these little yellow caps on things, being what are those for? How does all this hold together? And I feel like I learned a lot about how electrical wiring works, and who knows, maybe I'm on a path now to fixing the electrical wiring in the garage, which is currently not working, down by our pantry or whatever, where we store all of our food. Totally dark down there, makes it not super organized. What else happened? We ate at some restaurants. Liz and I have been in this area for a year, and it was so nice. My mom and brothers insisted on us eating out a little bit, not having to worry too much about doing stuff in the kitchen, though we did make, pancakes and some fun stuff like that. But we got to go to a really wonderful Japanese restaurant in Fishkill. We got some really fantastic Thai food in Shady Oaks, which is 10 minutes away. And then we got more of Nona's Pizza, because Nona's Pizza is wonderful. So 3 really good restaurants. We also had some froyo, frozen yogurt, which is really wonderful. Remember when they used to call it Frogurt? Yeah, I see why froyo caught on more. Going down the list, we played Terra Neo. Neither of my brothers are super big board game players, but I played with them the basic version of Terra Neo without any upgrade cards. My brother Nick, who plays almost no board games, tied me in the game, and I wasn't going easy or anything, so that was good. I think they got a handle on the game and would play again. And it's a really pretty game. I just really like how everything looks when it's all set up. Alistair is making lots of wonderful faces that we're enjoying right now. I'm trying to, document some of the things that I want to make sure that I don't forget, because it's going to be so easy to when he starts to get a little bit older or more, I want to say human, that's not the right word, but more engaging, because right now, of course, his eyes are still very wandery, and he's kind of in his own world, and sometimes I can hold his attention for a second. But just a few things that I don't want to forget about that's happening right now. He makes the most hilarious crumply faces, and this can be anything from when he's feeding, sucking on my arm, giving me injuries like that awesome bruise. Let's see if we can get that in the light. He gets so determined. He's or he's this pacifier. It's just this kind of look, which is really wonderful. And then when he's happy, I don't know if we're getting real smiles. It could still just be gas or indigestion or something. But he makes these faces now. They're just so happy and delightful. And then he'll kind of wander around, and then something will grab his attention, and he is just focused, and he'll just stare at it. It could be something dangling. My dad and Debbie got us these vibrating seats, 2 of them, which, as it turns out, perfectly required just the number of batteries that were in another baby seat thing that we had, where one of the batteries was dead, which was preventing it from working. And these are C batteries, which are not super common. Of course, I prefer to use rechargeable batteries, but great because we don't have to buy batteries. Anyway, so we're playing with, how does the vibration affect him? He seems to like it. It doesn't really put him to sleep or anything, and he still is, by the way, sleeping much more during the day than at night. So we'll get through that. But yeah, he's so adorable and lovable, and his hair is starting to fall out, which makes us super sad. It's so soft and nice, and of course now he's going to be growing, his not adult hair. What do you call it? I mean, you grow hair your entire life, but it's this soft, downy kind of layer of hair, and you still get it on his shoulders and his ears, and I haven't checked his shoulders or his ears, but it's definitely falling out of his hair, so that makes us a little bit sad. played a little bit more MGS5, showed Matt. Matt and I, of course, grew up playing Metal Gear Solid together, and it was really cool to share a few moments with him and let him just play, go to town. While Nick and I were playing with the motion sensor outside, I just let Matt, have fun, because I tend to be a bit of a backseat driver with this stuff. And I'm like, no, go over there, no, go press this button, change to this inventory item. So it was cool to just let him have fun and get a kick out of the totally open way to play the game. I finished Chapter 2 of the game. I'll talk about MGS5 in detail probably next week or something like that when I reach the true ending, but I finished Chapter 2, and there's no other way to say it. It is disappointing. It's a really abrupt ending. It doesn't feel like there's any resolution to not only nothing that would like bridge the gap in the Metal Gear universe, but no resolution to the plot lines that are set up just within this world. And I guess the biggest problem is that so many of the trailers were so good and teased, a really deep, enthralling story. And strangely, the trailers show almost every cutscene in the game, at least some moment from it. And then the trailers had cutscenes that I haven't seen in the game. Like, it's possible I didn't unlock them, but there's stuff with, like, the child soldiers, stuff with tanks, stuff with a bunch of burned bodies and a vulture that, I haven't seen in the game. So I don't know if that's stuff that was cut or some other missions that I haven't unlocked or something. But anyway, I'm a little bit disappointed with the shallowness of the story. But yeah, it just feels unfinished. It feels like maybe Hideo Kojima spent $80 million building up this world, and then for the actual story, everything's kind of thrown together half-assed at the last minute, which would be a shame. Because you figure, Ground Zeroes, which didn't have that much content, came out a year and a half ago, and I don't know how much of Phantom Pain was completed at that point, but then, a year and a half to create this giant open world that I think, as they said, is 200 times bigger than Camp Omega and Ground Zero. So anyway, there's not much hope for DLC or anything like that, because Konami's kind of calling it quitsies with AAA titles. Who knows, they might make a Metal Gear thing on their own, but I don't see them expanding this story, this world, which is a real shame, especially because of Mission 51. So anyway, the only main mission that exists in the game that I haven't gotten to yet is Mission 47, which you unlock, I think, by just playing all the other main missions. So I have to, go through some grinding with the, extreme skull fight, which is kind of annoying, and a couple of the other ones. I don't mind the stealth ones. Those are kind of fun. You just can't get seen. Anyway, that's MGS5. I am falling asleep. What else? Watching TV, Project Greenlight. Still fun. I'm in season 2 now. Now we got a female script and two male directors. There was a female director who really wanted to direct the female script, and for some reason she wasn't picked, which is a shame because it seems like she was really passionate about it and would have done anything she could to make it a good movie. And just like what I did with season 1, I kind of spoiled myself here and just looked up the Rotten Tomatoes rating for the season 2 movie that got made. Also not particularly highly rated. So, it's interesting. I guess on the one hand, it's like with so many different opportunities for scripts and good writers and good directors, you would think that they would find something that's really amazing and has the potential to work with a first-time writer, first-time director, and yet it seems like every movie that gets made out of this process is kind of subpar and lackluster, and I guess I find that a little bit surprising that there isn't, because you'd think there'd be some kind of magic formula where it's like, oh, well, here's a script out of the 10,000 scripts we received that will hit all the right notes and it's going to cost under $1 million and we think it'll work. And then so far, I guess no dice. But then I guess Chris Moore, who's the producer on season 1 and 2 and maybe 3, I guess goes on to Starz to create his own show called The Chair or something like that, so maybe I'll check that out, because I am fascinated in all these behind-the-scenes machinations. Blunt Talk, I started watching it with Patrick Stewart. It's a fun show, I recommend it. It's funny, and I like the character and the directions he goes. I just want to say work is going well. I had a really productive day today. Last week I had a meeting at the Park Avenue Armory. Yeah, I kind of led it, which was nice. Like lots of smart, intelligent people gathered around working on this mezzanine problem. Then I hung out there, measured some chairs for another project they're doing called Marina Abramovich. And then today we need to make some very quick decisions on the chair and the layout and what kind of incline it was going to have. And so I was just supposed to make like a simple 3D model for us to take our standard, sightline views. And I actually didn't tell anyone, but in that same like hour that I had, I just made a VR version of the model. And that's one, to show that I could do it that quickly, but two, because I want to get my office and our collaborators more comfortable with treating VR as a normal tool and not a special thing that's reserved just for special design projects. So that worked out really well. Like I set it up very interactive, here's the whole seating layout, here's the different chairs, press the caps lock key and toggle between, the different chair inclines and jump to whatever seat you want. So, I've got kind of my scripts and my template down, so that process is becoming much quicker and very satisfying. Also, Unity actually has it now, so you don't even need like the Oculus Rift SDK. I'm still using some Oculus prefabs in there because it tends to make things smoother. I still have it so the mouse can move the head around, but that's inside baseball stuff. That all works well. Also on Thursday during that meeting, I got tickets. Peter was like, "Oh, hey, did you want to see Tree of Codes?" And I was like, I have a friend that actually really wanted to see that. And he's like, "Let's ask Lissa." And I was like, "Okay." And it's a totally sold out show. It's only there for a week, so I really didn't think there was any chance that would happen. But Peter was like, "Hey, any chance we can get tickets to Tree of Codes?" Because we both worked on the project. And she was like, "Sure." And it's funny how even with the sold out show, sometimes I guess that's possible. And so suddenly I found myself with 2 tickets. Friend Morgan really wanted to go because he was familiar with the source material. And so, it was a really tricky balance because it was the first time where it's like, oh, here's a last minute exciting opportunity for something to do in the city, and yet, of course, that was that ended up being the first night that I wasn't coming home on time, and so I was left with basically leaving Liz alone for the entire day with Alistair. So that was kind of a tricky decision, and I tried to enjoy the show the entire time. It was only an hour and a half, but of course that was in the back of my mind the whole time. But it turned out to be a really fantastic dance performance, and some really kind of modern stuff. The music was super catchy. There's a ton of little 3-note melodies in there that I think will be looping through my head for many weeks to come. I'll be writing up my little theater review on that soon, so check that out. What else? Tree Goes is fun. Carrie Russell was there. That was kind of cool. She was by herself. Apparently, inside baseball, no, celebrity gossip stuff. Someone from my office used to live next to Carrie Russell. Her husband used to be a carpenter. I guess, unfortunately, they've kind of gone through a divorce. Carrie Russell might be with Matthew Rhys now from The Americans. Who knows, but she was at this show totally alone, and that's maybe good that I didn't try to crack jokes to her about her secretly being Matthew Rhys wearing a wig. The wigs are really hilariously, in a good way, bad on The Americans. But yeah, we didn't talk to her. The car, totally non-working seatbelt, tried everything we could to fix it, so we ended up dropping it off the mechanic last night. Sounds like they might have to replace the whole thing. Unfortunately, we're reaching this point with the car where I feel like the money we're putting into fixing the various things, that maybe what we should have done is just not fixed anything and sold it as is for, $1,400 or something like that. And if we had done that, it's looking like that would have made us more money than what we're doing now, which is like trying to fix it up and keep it inspected and have everything working and then sell it for a higher price. So yeah, hopefully replacing the seatbelt doesn't become too expensive. I'm really having trouble debating what parking ticket kind of system I want to deal with, because I'm getting a lot of $15 parking tickets because it takes forever to put in, 30 quarters in these darn meters that don't have any kind of electronic new system in place. And so yeah, I'll start putting in quarters and the train is coming and I just have to go, and I just can't bring myself to get to the train station a couple minutes earlier. So, I think I'm going to buy a yearly pass in Garrison because it's not very expensive, but Garrison's further away. So I might actually use it more as a backup. And then I'm just going to see if I can get a couple passes in Peekskill because, $88 a month, not fantastic, but a lot cheaper than what I'm doing now, which is like $30 in parking tickets a week. I mean, I guess that comes out to like maybe $135 or something like that. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. Lastly, Danton has been really gung-ho about doing some kind of presentation with me somewhere where we can talk about interactivity, VR, design thinking, all that good stuff. And so he made it to the second stage submitting a panelist proposal with myself and someone who is in one of his plays, who is an architect, and seems like the three of us would be a good balance talking about some of this stuff. So I sat down with them for an hour last night, very efficient, and we got as much done as we could, getting everything ready for that. So that was great, and I hope that we get into the panel. Yikes, sorry Sadie, that was a plate. And then I guess I just want to say Spider-Gwen is going to be released on Monday. Look forward to that. Only changes I've been asked to make is to make the credits a little bit shorter. And they also said maybe to take out the Marvel logo because they're worried about copyright stuff, but I haven't seen a video ever get taken down for that. Knock on wood that will be okay. Finally, let's get Alistair for his little cameo. And no videos this week. Let's just keep this simple. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Lots of MGS5 talk tomorrow. A couple other friends are going to be stopping by to see Alistair. Yeah. Bah. Here's the little guy this week. Look who wants to make my bruise even more bruisey than it already is. But he's hilarious, and I love him. And yeah, isn't it crazy how you can like see his face changing? His eyes are opening up wide. He's getting more definition. His hair is falling out, though. We can look at that. Oh, see that? Oh, that hairline's totally different. But he's amazing and hilarious, and I love watching his eyes and what catches his attention. And it's funny, he does look a lot pudgier on film. I guess when they say the camera adds 5 pounds, it really is 5 pounds, even if your total body weight is only like 8 pounds. So let's see if we can get another good angle. We'll see if we get, maybe someday I'll do like some kind of crazy time-lapse video thing. Hey, Alistair. Hi. Hi, what's over here? What's over here? Oh, hey, what you looking at? He's like, where's my pacifier? Yeah, glow-in-the-dark pacifier from my brother Nick. Really fantastic, especially if he starts crying in the middle of the night, and it's just because he wants his pacifier. That makes things really easy. Hi. Uh-oh. Don't want to drop it. Don't want to drop it. Okay, guys, thank you for watching or whatever, and have a great night. Say good night, Alistair. Good night. Damn it, I dropped it. I go clean it. Bye. Feel that grip. He's got a great grip. And now he wants to eat my shirt.